Hey folks, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you just landed here, hit like, hit subscribe. This is a place where we're going to talk about the truth bombs here only. Today, I'm going to do a video on Jacquelyn. I want to do a video on her. She goes over her journey in veganism. I think it's actually a really interesting video, and I wanted to critique some of the things she said because I've tried it before myself too. I experienced some similar symptoms of what happened to her. Am I totally against a vegan diet? Not 100%. If you actually want to clean out your liver and get rid of the fats, you can go vegan for a period of time and do that. So there's a point to it. But can you sustain it? No, I do not believe that at all. She's got quite a few subscriber count, 113,000 subscribers. What's interesting about this video too, she's got 3.9 thousand likes and 4.5 thousand dislikes. So a bunch of vegans came over here and disliked the video. So maybe they'll come over and dislike my video. I don't care.
To share with you for so long. I was a little nervous sharing it, to be honest, but I know that this video is going.
Yeah, the reason she's a little nervous to share is because she knew all the backlash she's going to get from all the other vegans. That's why she didn't want to do it, but she had the balls and she did it. So congratulations. I'm glad you did it.
Going to pray the epitome of health. So I was excited to see what it was like to be in my own body.
Yeah, when you talk to other vegans, they do think it's called the epitome of health. It's like the holy grail of health. I don't believe that, not for a second. I've tried it. I didn't get anything like that. It's not even close. I think it's the anti-epitome of health.
It is bloating, and not just your little yoga.
Yeah, I wonder how many other vegans are coming along or contacted her that said, oh, you were still doing it wrong.
I was in mainly almost all of the.
Yeah, she's absolutely 100% right there. All you have to do is eat those types of foods that she mentioned, and you're going to have some serious bloating problems. One place I'm going to disagree with her on is the fruit. I've done a lot of experimenting on my own with fruit, and you should not have much of a problem with fruit. It kind of depends. If you just stay with the basics, fruits, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. But if you do eat an excessive amount of fruit, obviously you may have a problem, and you shouldn't be eating an excessive amount of fruit, in my opinion. Now, first, I want to let you know I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not an MD. If you want to get some health advice, make sure you go to your MD to get your health advice before you start changing your diet, doing a vegan diet, doing a carnivore diet, doing any types of diet. See your medical doctor.
And the immense amount of bloating. So
yeah, with the fiber, she's right about that. It does pass through and it goes into the large intestine, which it will ferment. And that's what's creating the gas, the short chain fatty acids. Getting a small amount, just a tiny amount of that is good for you. I think where this came along is the people, they were eating an excessive amount of cooked meat and started having a poor diet, and they were not having as many bowel movements. So there's a recommendation, hey, throw the fiber into your diet so you have the bowel movements. If you eat a good natural diet, you won't have those problems. And if you are having those problems, something is wrong. Something is wrong.
That was coming out of my body. Okay.
I'm going to go over this just briefly, but this is no surprise that she was having these issues on this diet. That's no surprise at all.
I was experiencing inflammation in my face. I got super puffy in my face.
Now she's going on to a third reason or side effect she had from having eating a vegan diet. And she's right, she has inflammation. I've said this before in previous videos. I did a video on another woman, and I mentioned to her about her face. Her face has inflammation, it looks like to me. It's kind of like a fat face, and she actually mentions this here in this video. So I find that very interesting that she's bringing that up, because with excessive sugars in your diet, you're going to have some inflammation. Now, are you going to notice it in the first week, in the 2 weeks? No, you're probably not. It's going to take some time, and then it'll eventually build up.
My muscle definition came back, which is.
I've noticed that too with people that, with myself and other people that have changed their diet from more of a American standard, more vegan diet, because American standard diet is going more towards of a vegan type diet. And when they took a lot of that stuff out and put meat, high quality meats into their diet, I have actually seen people that don't even lift weights gain muscle when they lightly cook the meat, actually gain muscle without doing anything. They just started eating a good, proper diet with animal products, with red meat, throwing in some fish, but primarily the red meat, and lightly cooking the meat and not overdoing it and overcooking the meat.
The plant-based diet is.
Also, I want to say too, you want to know what the biggest indicator of inflammation in your body that you can tell easily is high blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, it's starting to elevate, you're starting to get inflammation in the body. You need to figure out what's going on with your diet to bring that down. I used to have high blood pressure, and this is what I was told by the doctor. I was told, hey, you're just going to have high blood pressure. It's a genetic thing. It's not a genetic thing. It's poor diet.
Right, it's inflammatory. There's something.
Yep, just like what I said right there is that when you're getting these indications of inflammation, and I said the biggest indication for inflammation in your body is if your high blood pressure starts going up. So you go on this diet, keep track of your blood pressure. If you want to go vegan and you're eating excessive carbs, keep track of it.
Down, and I've never been someone to take,
all this stuff is not going to bring your inflammation down. I don't care what you take. You're going to be taking the celery, the ginger, and all that other stuff. You got to go back to the root. What's really causing the problem? And she found out. She came to the conclusion, it's my diet. This is really interesting to me because I really, really like this because she did her own experiment, but she didn't mean to do it. She just did her own experiment and it ended up being that way. And she figured it out on her own. It's pretty interesting to me. She went a lot longer than I did on a vegan diet though. 8 months.
The vegetable oils that are in the diet. I had no idea about this.
This is one of the areas where I really disagree with vegans a lot. They promote eating vegetable oils. They're not really vegetable oils. They're seed oils. They come from a chemical plant. Some of the seed oils like rapeseed oil, which is called quote unquote canola oil, is actually denatured fats. What's the word that I'm looking for? When fats go bad, I'm trying to remember that word. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Where fats go bad, what they in the process of them making the Wesson oil and the canola oils, the fats go bad, and then they do some more chemical stuff to it through the process of refining it and doing all these other things that they like to do to it to make it edible and taste good. And then tell people, oh, it's okay for your body. There's nothing going to happen to it. We've done some studies and tests on that. Go ahead and eat the stuff. It's good for you. Come on, folks, be real. Wait, well, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you, here's a cattle. Are you going to eat the fat off the cattle or are you going to eat the fat that comes out of the refinery? Because that's what they're telling you to do.
It's so bad for the body, causes inflammation.
Yeah, I went over and I made a video about canola oils and safflower oils and other types of oils, which they're seed oils. And you're actually putting them into your body and you're not getting the protection in your gut. Well, you get the protection in your gut when you eat the saturated fats, and natural saturated fats that come from animals will protect your gut. If you put these seed oils in there, safflower, the canola oils and things, you're basically putting in a toxin that doesn't really, just wants to get it through your colon. You're not getting the protection from the other saturated fats. Saturated fats are stable fats. That's why they're called saturated. Yeah, she probably have a little bit more acid reflux. You can actually get that on pretty much any type of diet that you do. You have to be careful of that. I do take some apple cider vinegar every now and then just to stay on top of it, but I don't need to take apple cider vinegar every single day or anything like that. But you want to kind of stay on top of that if you're kind of venturing off and starting to eating poor quality in your diet, which is normal, completely normal. You can't have a diet on point 100% of the time. You know, day in and day out, 365 days a year. Just, that's not realistic.
Overloaded with food and liquid.
I don't want to go too much in her explanation of acid reflux. There's other videos you guys can go watch about that. One of the best things to help you with your acid reflux, no matter the diet that you're on, is to use apple cider vinegar, either a couple hours before your meal or however much you want to work out before or after your meal, and just figure it out on your own. But keep the vegetable oils out. It's not going to work too good if you keep eating those. I'm going to inject right here before she starts going into it, but I'm sure it's going to be the excessive carbs and excessive insulin spikes she was having that made her to gain weight.
It increases insulin levels in the body, and when those are elevated, that can cause weight gain, because weight is about...
So there you go. She said, I figured high carbohydrates, high insulin. She was spiking her insulin probably 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times a day, because the vegans tell you, oh, you need to eat every 2 or 3 hours. Though some of them like to do fast, but I think they err on the side of like doing juice fast or something like that, like Fully Raw Christina, because she's trying to sell you a juicer.
You can't actually absorb.
And she brought up the hormones too. And the other thing is having her hormones out of balance, especially for a woman that's her age. She's in her 30s now, and she's going to have to stay more on top of that, particularly with her diet. But she's missing a lot of those vital vitamins that are instrumental in your hormones, particularly when vitamin D, which if you're not out in the sun, you're gonna have to get that from eggs and other animal products. I don't care what anybody says. Obviously the sun is the best source to get that from. Then you have vitamin A, retinol, not the vitamin A that Google's going to tell you. That's not vitamin A. It's called beta carotene. That's a precursor to vitamin A. And then they go, oh, well, some people are gonna convert it into vitamin A. Look, get the direct source for the best of your health. You want to be the healthiest you can be. So get the direct source, get retinol. And I'm not talking about taking a pill to get your retinol. Eat products that have the retinol. What's the best source of vitamin A? Beef liver.
Your body.
Yeah, that one that's going to block the absorption of nutrients will be the seed oils. They will block it because your body, I think this is more of my Greg theory. Now go speak to a medical doctor and get his opinion if you really want to make a change in your diet before anything happens. But what's going to happen is you're going to put the seed oils into your body and it's going to be recognized as a toxin and not something natural. So it's going to have a harder absorption rate of the actual vitamins that you're going to be needing to get to sustain life, unlike saturated fat.
So this is what causes that constant hunger. So
and then when you're eating the saturated fat from the animal products, you're also getting the vitamins like your vitamin D, your K2s, and other vitamins, B vitamins.
I was hungry all the time. I'd eat 2 hours later, hungry. Eat must get through animal products. One of them being amino acids. I was taking 10 amino acid pills a day and I was telling everybody to do that.
I mean, that's typical of vegan diet. I'm not going to go too much into this. All the vegans that you see on YouTubes or they're wandering around and becoming a vegan, they're all taking supplements. I mean, they have like a closet full of supplements that they're taking. Some of them do anyhow. And it's vitamin B12. Some are giving them shots of vitamin B12. And I'm just sitting here looking at it and going, you don't see something wrong with this? You have to actually take all these vitamins and supplements just to stay in life. I'm not against vitamins and supplements, especially if you're an athlete. They do help. But if you're asking yourself, hey, is this a good diet? Is it going to sustain my life? Is it good for me? But you have to take all these vitamins and supplements. You got to really rethink your whole process of what's going on here in your belief system, in my opinion. The best place you want to get your vitamins, period, bar none, as you can, is get them from real food. So if you want to get all the vitamins, you're going to have to eat your animal products to make sure you get all vitamins, vitamin A, D3, K2, important, vital vitamins for longevity and health, keeping yourself looking young. In my opinion, if you have a diet high in saturated fat, you're going to look younger. Yes, ladies, you're going to look younger with a diet high in saturated fat. I'm not going to really go on the studies thing here. I've already talked about that before. A lot of these studies are easily manipulated. Most of the studies are like this. They go to the highest bidder. Whoever's getting paid the most amount of money, they're going to make that study say what they want it to say. So be careful of studies.
At the restaurant, there was plenty of things.
The reason she didn't know what to eat anymore is because she was feeling like crap. She had bloating. She's had inflammation. She's gaining weight. And she's like, what am I doing wrong? And she finally came to the realization after all this period of time, 8 months, and she's lucky. This woman is lucky it happened to her in 8 months. Could you imagine if she kept doing this diet for 18 years? What could have happened? The nutrient deficiency she could have gotten? Anything like that in this type of diet. Vegan diet, that is.
It was just too destructive on my gut. It was painful.
Vegetables should be cooked. Most vegetables should be cooked to break them down so you can digest them better.
Because they are.
That's the other thing is like, look at the top of this, the ingredient list that I have here on the screen that you all can see. And you still have a talk with vegans and they still insist on what you're looking at is a natural diet. Let's be real here. Is it high in all kinds of vitamins? Yeah, it's high in all kinds of vitamins. Vitamin B, zinc. It even has B12 in it. But it has sunflower oil, it has safflower oil, it has cultured dextrose in it, has soy protein concentrate, just things that are not natural to the body.
Way to eat to nature, it felt so far away from nature because so much of it.
I don't want to harp on too much that is carcinogenic. That's from studies that she's read or she heard people say that. So I don't know for sure if the actual vegetable oils themselves are carcinogenic because a study is going to say that. I don't know if they manipulated that for some other agenda. I do know by testing on myself the difference between vegetable oils and then actually eating saturated fat. And there's a huge difference in less of gut problems when I eat saturated fat. And I know why. It's because the saturated fat, you're getting the protection. I went over this in videos before. You're getting the protection from the saturated fat. Your gut is. Your gut's getting the protection. Let me clarify. Your gut's getting the protection from it.
All of these,
so she's resorting herself to a smoothie a day because she felt like crap. She didn't know what to do because she admitted that. And she was having bloating and all kinds of other issues, and she's still giving it a shot. So you got to give her credit. You have to give this woman, Jacquelyn, Action Jacquelyn, credit that she went all this way and still realized that this diet doesn't work long term. It's not sustainable diet long term.
and everything like I.
All right, folks. She's going to go into more of all of her issues that she had. Her review of what happened, I find it very interesting because she went through a whole 8 months of trying the vegan diet. So she got suckered in by mainstream media or maybe her friends or something like that. Hey, go and try it. This is the quote unquote holy grail of health. Holy grail of health. Let me tell you something. There is no holy grail of health. It's just common sense. So she decided to try this, and after 8 months, and it seems to me that she was actually darn near, I want to say on her deathbed, but she was getting pretty unhealthy, and she realized it. She knew she made it a change. So congratulations to Action Jacquelyn. I'm glad that she did her 8-month experiment and found out on her own that it sounds so great. Now, I'm going to go into say this about a vegan. If you have a liver where you're trying to cleanse your liver or something like that, you could go vegan and get rid of all those fats. And I wouldn't do it anymore for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then you can clear out your liver or something like that. There's a purpose behind it, but it's not a sustainable diet. To me, I look at it as just common sense. Nobody's going to be able to change my opinion about that. I've done the experiments on my own body. I didn't do an 8-month vegan diet, but I did long enough to realize that it's not a good long-term diet at the end of the day, period. Are there some uses for it? Short-term? Yes, there are. Long-term? No way. All right, folks, that's the end of my video. If you made it all the way in, thanks for watching. Do me a favor, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.